Fam, what's going on? It is Kyle Henderson and Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. Today is Sunday. Today is January 5th. Hope you are having an amazing Sunday. And thank you very much for being here today on the show. We're going to talk about transfers that are out. We're going to talk about all the defensive players that are returning back to 2025. We are going to talk a little bit about Alabama basketball, who dominated Oklahoma yesterday in SEC play. Again, thank you very much for being here. Let's dive into it, and I will give you an update as well on the puppy Pearl as we move on. So thank you very much to everybody inside the Undefeated. Please always let me know where you're watching from. I always am excited to see where you guys are watching from across the country, around the globe, right here on Bama Football on YouTube. There's so much to dive into. You know, last night, peeled back and I was watching Alabama basketball beat the brakes off Oklahoma. Look, Oklahoma clearly wasn't ready for what Alabama basketball had in store. And that's the thing about it, is like when you have such a tough out of conference schedule like Alabama basketball does, man, they were absolutely ready. They feasted on the Sooners last night. Mark Sears, good to see him in action last night for Alabama basketball. But as I was watching this game, we're chilling out and I was at a buddy's house. You know, the news kept coming in. You had a couple more transfers come in last night. I think you had Sterling Dixon, Ty Lockwood, and then Elijah Pritchett on the back end of the night. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about major news like Deontae Lawson returning and Justin Jefferson returning, as well as Tim Keenan, which I think are absolutely significant updates to the defense. And I have a graphic that I spent a little time on this morning talking about the Alabama defense. And man, to my count, I'm up to 9 to 10 players returning on 2025 that had significant playing time, pretty much starters. If you had Devontae Smith, for example, I'll show you the graphic I'm talking about. If he's returning, I think you have all your starters coming back, because James Smith, he played in over 300 snaps this past year. So I appreciate you guys being here. We're going to have T up in the house in just a minute. Hey, T, I want to give them an update on Pearl. Could you give me Pearl? I know she's sleeping right here. I know. So look, I had to give you an update on the French Bulldog yesterday. She's been in the emergency room up in Birmingham, and I appreciate the prayers for Pearl. She's been in the emergency room for 7 days. 7 days, and look who we got here. We got Pearl home after 7 days. I'll go screen on this. So Pearl is home. God is good. Prayers are real. You guys are way better prayers than I am. Something I need to work on and continue to work on in my life. But Pearl is home, and she's doing really well. So she has another appointment following this show, and we're trending in a really good direction. Still watching the kidneys, and she has a little pancreatitis and taking all sorts of medicine. But Pearl has made it home. So, and I'm not gonna lie, this is my favorite one. So you're not supposed to have favorites, but Pearl is my favorite. You can come get her, T. All right, so on with the show, and thanks again for being here on Bama Football on YouTube. All right, as we talk about the first point, Elijah Pritchett, you know, this is interesting because I think this is so how I'm going to go about this. Talk about the good, talk about the bad, what's next, and just talk specifically about Elijah Pritchett. And I think when you first see Elijah Pritchett hit the transfer portal, I think this is the second time he's hit the portal. Everybody knows that he hit the portal last year and the stuff that he went through off the field. I'm not here to talk about, you know, someone's personal issues. I'm not like that. But in terms of, you know, on the football field and what he does for the team, you know, Elijah Pritchett really struggled at the right tackle position. I think he was put in, you know, the spot to be the starter. And I don't think that Alabama had an answer for the right tackle all year. They tried originally Wilcom Formby. He wasn't it either. And sometimes those guys are in a development process. I mean, I think Elijah Pritchett is a redshirt freshman. Same thing with Wilcom Formby. So those guys being, you know, in development, sometimes they're just not ready to be a tackle. Now, can they be a tackle in a couple years? Probably. But in this new world of college football, you're not going to have that luxury anymore. And we'll dive into that as we continue to talk about the transfer portal. You're not going to have your developmental pieces very long. And, you know, with Pritchett, he just wasn't it. And I think that really dampened the overall offensive ability for Alabama, along with the quarterback play. If you're not going to have a top level quarterback and you're not going to have a top right tackle or a left tackle, you're going to be in some serious doo doo. So now, with like the good news is Elijah Pritchett is going somewhere else because he wasn't it. But I mean, does that mean that Wilcom Formby is now the guy? And look, we have seen guys make year over year progression. A perfect example is Seth McLaughlin. The guy was one of the worst offensive centers that we've seen here at Alabama. Year over year, the guy worked on his craft, went somewhere else, and ends up winning the Remington Award. You're like, what? That was one of the craziest things that happened. So can Wilcom Formby develop into next season? Hell yeah, he can. He's a local kid out of Tuscaloosa. Now, the guy also struggled. I think he was probably worse than Elijah Pritchett. So I'm going to show you a graphic that kind of illustrates Alabama's offensive line if they were to play a game this coming Saturday or whatever. And that's the bad news right now is you really don't have a right tackle that you're probably happy about and I'm not happy about. Wilcom Formby is not there yet. He wasn't it this year. And Antoine Anugum, as excited as you are about getting the big man out of Ball State, he's still in a developmental process as well. Seems like kind of somebody that they really have to bring up to speed. So I think what is going to happen and kind of what's next for Alabama's right tackle position is that they're going to aggressively go into the transfer portal during the second transfer portal window, or even this might be happening right now. Maybe there's a playoff team that has a right tackle, something like that. But Alabama needs to get serious about bringing in a right tackle because if you don't have a right tackle, and we go into this coming season, and this is what it's looking like for Alabama on the offensive line, it doesn't matter if you have Ty Simpson or you have the number one quarterback in the class of 2025, he's going to be in trouble. And we all know that Keelan Russell needs to put on more weight to be able to absorb some of those big blows that he's going to have in SEC play. This offensive line has a major glaring issue on the right side. Elijah Pritchett gone, Formby, Antoine Anugum, this is concerning at this point in time. Now, is there a game soon? No. Can you add people from the transfer portal? For sure. But this is now we're at a critical point. You 1,000,000% need, and you were always in a critical point with the right tackle, but now it gets a little bit more serious with Pritchett gone. You're like, man, we wish Pritchett would go. We wish he was out. And then he's gone. You're like, ooh, all right. Formby, warm up. And Antoine Nugent, get some snaps. So here's what Alabama's offensive line could look like right now. So you have Caden Proctor returning, Cam Dewberry, who came in from Texas A&M. I don't know who's going to start at left guard. It could be Michael Carroll, Olas Allen. You could have Casey Poe. There's a lot of guys who are going to vie for those starting spots. Parker Brailsford coming back, Rock Montgomery, Joseph Ionita, Jaden Roberts. I wonder if they've ever thought about putting Jaden Roberts at right tackle. If he could play right tackle, I don't know the schematics if he could, but maybe that could be something. Is maybe pop out Jaden Roberts if he could to right tackle, because you also lost Miles McVay, who was a tackle as well, right? And you put him at the right tackle position. Then you had Geno Vandermark. I think that's like a emergency situation if they were to have a game today. But I think they're going to get in a tackle, or maybe how about this? Maybe this means that Ty Haywood will stay with Alabama. To my knowledge, I don't think he's decommitted. He just hasn't signed the necessary paperwork. But then, it's kind of the word on the street is that he's not going to sign this class. Well, he hasn't signed with anybody. So can you make it happen to get Ty Haywood? And I think if you get Ty Haywood at the right tackle position, the 5-star offensive lineman, you might be in business. Maybe that's what'll happen. In best case scenario, you either get the top transfer out of the transfer portal in spring, or you get Ty Haywood to commit. So overall, right now you have 3 returning offensive linemen, Brailsford, Roberts, and Caden Proctor, that saw significant time. Other than that, you have a gigantic issue at right tackle as of today. Things can change. We'll see what happens, but kind come up with all the loose change you can to be able to get Ty Haywood to come to Tuscaloosa, right? All right. On the flip side, you have a couple guys returning on the defensive side, and it's starting to get pretty exciting to think about the Alabama defense for 2025. I'm not going to lie. Does Kane Womack need to work on some stuff? 100%. Did we see the defense start to improve on the back end of the year? I don't know. You could go back and forth about. I'll tell you what. The defense wasn't as bad as it was towards the middle of the season. Even the secondary started playing a little bit better. So Deontae Lawson, real quick, he's a returning captain. I mean, this was the first year that Coach Kalen DeBoer ever put the C on the chest of the prospects during the beginning of the season. Usually it's done at the end of the season, right? No, JG, I already tried to work with Yale, Alabama. They said they didn't want to work with me. So as much as I try to like promote and say stuff, nah, man, like they passed. They said they didn't want to do anything. So, yeah, that's that. But Deontae Lawson coming back. I mean, it's significant news. This guy was injured this past season, unfortunately, suffered a leg. And I think it was ACL. I don't know all the specifics. You're not supposed to know actually what the players are have injured because of HIPAA laws, right? That exist to protect like your actual. So that's what they say, arm, leg. They don't tell you a specific thing. I mean, think about it. If you hurt something on your body, do you want everybody knowing? Not really. So anyways, this guy, it looks like a leg. And does that mean that he's even going to be back for the springtime? If it was a significant leg injury, like an ACL or MCL or something like that, I don't know. I would say probably not. But the good thing is you have Jeff Allen, who's been with Alabama even like when Saban just got here. Him staying was absolutely critical to the health and the overall well-being of Alabama's stability, in terms of getting these players back up to speed. So if anybody could get this guy back to 100%, it's Jeff Allen. So you have this is gigantic getting him back. Before the season started this year, I had him as a top 20 guy in the NFL draft, him and Jahad Campbell. He had 76 tackles this past season. He wasn't broken up by all means, just suffered a unfortunate injury. He'll be a redshirt senior, a returning captain. And that's why you have Jeremiah Alexander dipping out. That's why you have Sterling Dixon dipping out, because those guys are like, oh man, well, Justin Jefferson's coming back, Nakai Greenhill, Deontae Lawson, the younger guys. I mean, it's going to be a veteran inside linebacker room. 194 tackles overall. Deontae Lawson's it. It was weird because he was a little bit overshadowed by Jahad Campbell. That just shows you how good Jahad Campbell is. But Deontae Lawson is absolutely 1,000,000% baller. Him returning absolutely significant, like a 10 out of 10, right? So here's what the Alabama inside back room looks like right now. And we'll make adjustments. These graphics are always fluid. I put together this morning. And what you can see from this illustration is it's a veteran inside linebacker room, right? You got Deontae Lawson coming back, returning captain. And the graduation years reflect well they'll be in 2025. Justin Jefferson, the guy, gets an extra year because of Diego Pavia. We'll talk about him in a second. Nakai Hill-Green, he's coming in from Colorado. He was at Michigan. He was at Charlotte. And now he'll be with the Crimson Tide. So look at those three inside linebackers that you have. This season is an absolute grind. You need inside linebackers. I think Deontae Lawson, until he gets up to speed, your starters, like as of today, are Justin Jefferson and Nakai Hill-Green. Hey, L. Davis, what's up, man? I appreciate you being here. I was just talking about the offensive line probably before you dipped in. Long story short is, and I'll hit back on this graphic in just a second, but I'll do this for you, L. Davis. Here's a look at the Alabama offensive line real quick. With Elijah Pritchett bouncing out, here's kind of a snapshot of where things stand. You also got Antoine Anugum in at that right tackle position. But I think, with three returning starters on the offensive line, feel good about it. But what scares me to death is the right tackle. I mean, that's just not it. So I talked about that earlier on in the show. The inside linebacker room, though, you have a good mix of veterans, and then some of these younger guys, when they have their opportunity to eat, I think they'll feast. Justin Okoronkwo, if you can keep him at Alabama, if you can keep him focused on the fact that in 2026 you're going to be the guy, right? Hey, Flyboy G, who are we referring to inside the comment box? And the same thing with Caden Jones and QB Reese. The inside linebacker room looks promising even when we go into 2026. But like Justin Okoronkwo is absolutely the guy. Bo Price, what's up, man? I appreciate you being here. T, could you read out Bo Price's comment?
Yeah, he's saying coming in late on Grubb, but why was he so hyped up about a guy that's turned down Bama twice? Once under Saban and once under his best friend. He doesn't want to be here.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday. T, you put out an example. What is it like, T?
It's like a crazy ex stalker kind of situation.
I was like, that's exactly it. It's like, have you ever number one rule in life: don't chase somebody that doesn't want you. If they don't want to be here, they don't want to be with you. You let those people go, and you never ever chase somebody like that. And I feel like we got put in that situation. He's had opportunities to come here, not one opportunity. He's had two different opportunities to come here. One by Coach Saban, and another with his best friend, Kalen DeBoer, right? So, if he doesn't want to be here, he's already had two opportunities to be here. He pretty much come over here and be like the guy. So the rumor is, as you've all heard about Ryan Grubb, is that his wife doesn't want to be here. They say happy wife, happy life. We have no idea what they talk about, right? Don't chase, though. So the guy doesn't want to be here, doesn't want to be here. And that's just it. Flyboy, I'm getting back to you inside the comment box. Oh, you're talking about Nakai Hill should not play over Justin O? Yeah, I think that'll be up to new inside linebacker coach Chuck Morrell to figure out. What I can tell you about Nakai Hill Green is that he did have a productive season at Colorado. He had like 86 tackles. He's a veteran, had a really good, past couple of years. He was at Colorado and at Charlotte. And I think there'll be, competition makes the position good. So having another vet, I think is positive for the group. But yeah, Justin Okoronkwo is absolutely, he's good, man. And you know what? Caden Jones had more tackles than Justin Okoronkwo. So inside linebacker room looks a lot better with these guys coming back. It's all I'm saying, because think about it like this: there was an opportunity before we move for the inside linebackers that you lost Jahar Campbell, Deontae Lawson, and Justin Jefferson. Now, since Diego Pavia sliced up the NCAA, you have opportunity for Jefferson to come back. Deontae Lawson comes back because of an unfortunate injury, right? And now you get Nakai Hill Green out of the transfer portal. So looks better than it did at one point when kind of looking at the inside linebackers. All right, check this out. I was working on this yesterday, and I've updated. This is fresh. All right, so this is like the fresh loaf of bread at the grocery store. Okay. The stars indicate players who were starters this past year. Now, the only one that isn't like technically a real starter is James Smith at the defensive tackle position. But when I looked at Pro Football Focus, he played over 300 snaps. So I'm going to put a star next to him. Okay. So let's look at the defense real quick. So you have, and I have the only player that I think we're waiting on to figure out if he's coming back. One on the offense is Damani Jackson, and on the offensive side is Jeremy Bernard, right? So let's start at the Wolf position. You have Quay Russaw coming back. He was a starter, right? He'll be a redshirt sophomore this next season. Behind him, you have Yanzi Pierre, right? Noah Carter, Cavante Henry. Those are your Wolf position type players, okay? Tim Keenan announced that he's coming back. Gigantic update. James Smith, this guy is a monster, probably one of the MVPs for this game against Michigan. The bandit position, right? LT Overton, Kelby Collins, Jordan Nard, Keon Keeley. It's going to be interesting to see if Keon Keeley can continue to wait and be patient. As you can see, there's a lot of players at their bandit position. With LT coming in, you also have the corners up at the far top. You got Xavier Brown, right? That guy played a ton as a freshman. Hey, Lexon, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. inside linebacker. I put Justin Jefferson, Nikhai Hill-Green, and Lawson. And just as our boy inside the comment box, Flyboy, was saying, don't forget about like a Justin Okoronkwo. There's competition there, and there's veterans there. I love it. Coach Saban said that Justin Okoronkwo could have been a 5-star if he played football in the United States. The Husky position is really where you don't have a starter coming back because you have Red Morgan, who did play a significant amount of time, but Devontae Smith was a starter there. Now, he transferred out and went to Notre Dame, but this is what it looks like. I still think, man, put Jalen Mbakwe, if he could play the Husky position, have him play both ways, have him playing Husky and slot on the offensive side. I don't know if he could do that, but I think he's talented enough to do it. Still watching on the bottom side of your screen at the corner position, Damani Jackson, if he comes, right? Or if he goes, I don't know. I would love to see him back. You know what? This is what I would do. If Damani Jackson comes back, I put Damani Jackson at the corner, obviously keeping him there, Xavier Brown at the corner, and then I put Cam Calhoun, who just came in from Utah, I put him at the Husky position. I was thinking about Zay too. You could put Zay at the Husky position. At the safety spots in the back end, think about this. You have Keon Sabb, who was a starter before he got hurt, and you have Bray Hubbard back there, Drake Kirkpatrick, Taylor, who just came in, and then you have Zay Mincy as well, who played absolutely fantastic. And then, shoot, this Mustard, Dejon Lee, man, that guy's really, really good. Right? When you look to the cornerstone pieces coming in, Michael Carroll, Keelan Russell, Dejon Lee. Dejon Lee's it. You saw him play in this All-Star game. I'm feeling pretty good about this defense, to be honest. Look, Kane has to work on things just like everybody else. You have a new inside linebackers coach, Chuck Morrell. Mo Lindquist still working with the secondary. And we're going to have to figure out, the defense in terms of like the big men, like who's behind Tim Keenan, who's behind James Smith, Steven Bua, Isaiah Fega, Jeremiah Beeman, what's that rotation going to look like? That's probably going to be one of the critical pieces. But overall, I don't know. Think about this. You probably feel a lot more positive about the secondary at this point in time than you did going into this season. This is a good defense. There's a lot of experience here. I don't know. I started thinking, I don't have all the reserves listed on here, but you could, pencil in your reserves where you see them. Like, don't forget about Yanzi Pierre, for example. And, maybe we put Jalen Mbakwe back here, and you can, Zay Mincy obviously seems like a versatile piece to this defense, which is great. Big dude. I think Zay Mincy's ceiling is very high. Very, very high. All right, let me touch on Alabama basketball real quick. These guys opened up SEC. Who watched the Alabama basketball game last night inside the comment box? So Alabama basketball opens up SEC play. They were taking on number 12 Oklahoma. Oklahoma is 13-0. Comes over to Coleman Coliseum and absolutely got dominated. Alabama basketball. This team, and I feel they're so good because of that early non-conference schedule that they played. I mean, right from the jump at halftime, they're leading 48-29. Right now, 12-2 overall in the season, ranked number 5 in the country. This team, what's amazing about this team is this team has the talent to win the entire thing this year. It's going to be hard. There's a lot of good teams. The SEC is obviously talented, but when Mark Sears is on, like he was last night, pulling in a double-double, 22 points and 10 assists, this team is really good. Look at Grant Nelson up top, 12 points and 11 rebounds. It's another double-double. Even Youngblood, a digit away on each side from pulling in a double-double as well. So there's so much depth on this team. This team is so talented. Even Clifford Morey, 10 points and 7 boards in just 18 minutes. That's a very, very impressive win. So shout out to the Alabama basketball team. A couple things when I was looking at the stat detail that stand out. Teams are going to win and be tough to beat when you shoot this well at the free throw line. I'd like to see this bumped up just a little bit, but 22 of 30, I'll take it for 73%. I'd like to see a couple of those other additional free throws made. Like on the flip side, you have Oklahoma, who is 10 of 16 from the charity stripe. But Alabama last night, 9 of 29 from the 3-point land. I feel like this team even though I feel like they have better shooters, sometimes they don't have like like the overall percentage from outside isn't where I want it to be. Maybe they'll catch fire on the far back end of the season. 50% last night from the field and total rebounds. Yo, this team absolutely dominated the glass last night. 51 boards compared to Oklahoma's 26. So Alabama basketball, they'll be in action again against South Carolina. This team is very, very good. This team is everything that you wanted it to be. So if you haven't jumped on Alabama basketball, you're looking for something to do before we get to spring football, definitely hop over to Coleman Coliseum and check out the Alabama basketball team if you can. Also in the news, Tim Keenan and Justin Jefferson announced that they are coming back for the 2025 season. I just showed you a graphic illustrating what the Alabama defense could be back. And we got Patriot Life inside the comment box, the super chat. Hey, Patriot Life, we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the support on Lil Pearl being home, man. Yeah, she's posted up right next to us. How happy are you about Tim Keenan? Let's talk about Tim Keenan for a second. Because we don't talk offensive linemen don't get talked about, unfortunately. Neither do the big boys on the defense inside the trenches. But 6'2", 336 pounds, in-state guy, a class all the way through. He does his interviews after the games with the shades on. He has the big chain. On the field, his play has really been exceptional. If you go back and you start watching Alabama's defense, and you know how you do in the springtime when you're kind of bored and you want to watch just Alabama's football games from the past, watch 96 and come back and let me know what you think about him. If you haven't had the opportunity to watch him chase down quarterbacks or to see him run downfield to finish plays, you run down the field at 336 pounds. Tim Keenan don't stop until the whistle, right? Even my watch is telling me about Tim Keenan. So that was critical for the Alabama defensive line. I think we'd be, wondering if Alabama was going to take a DT or a big man if he didn't come back, and probably we still are. Justin Jefferson, the other inside linebacker, we talked about the inside linebacker coming back because of the Diego Pavia rule, gives him an extra year. And please remember that towards the back end of the season, the player responsible having the green dot, meaning helmet communication with Kane Womack, was Justin Jefferson, meaning he can call the entire defense. That's how important it is for Justin Jefferson to be rolling back for 2025. So, Deontae Lawson headlines in terms of the guys, the major guys coming back, but don't forget about Tim Keenan and Justin Jefferson. That's 3 starting defensive players coming back, announced in one day. That's yesterday. Still waiting on Damani Jackson. Also in the news, you have more transfers. It's actually 22. 22 is the total number up top. Yeah, I need to update that. So if you can, I'd appreciate that. Sterling Dixon, younger cat, who announced that he's hitting the transfer portal. As I illustrated, with the linebacker room, going to be tough for some of these younger guys to play. Ty Lockwood at tight end. With Josh Quavers coming back, Danny Lewis, you signed Caleb Edwards, Marshall Pritchett. It's going to be hard for him to play as well. Don't forget about Jay Lindsey inside that tight end room. There's 22 total transfers, 17 transfers. It should be 22 and then erase that 17T. I don't know why we have that. Sorry about that. And then 6 transfers following the bowl game. The bottom line is, and when we look to this next graphic, this is common. So this is happening to a lot of teams in college football. Happened to Alabama last year. I'll try to work on this if I have a little bit more time this week, is compare the transfers out after 24 comparative to the transfers out of 2023. Is it crazy? Yeah. Is it now common? Yeah. I mean, these are like entire recruiting classes that you're losing. Is it some of it house cleaning? Probably so. But I'll tell you what, the downside of a lot of these guys leaving is, look, I look on this board right here. There's not one guy, and no disrespect to any of these guys on the board, that was going to make or break Alabama's season in 2025. Okay. But the problem is this. All these guys are ultra talented. Let's face it. They came here to Alabama and they were recruited probably by Saban or Coach Kalen DeBoer when he first got on. I think mostly by Saban. A lot of these guys are used during practice to elevate the play of the starters. And when you continue to have these guys leaving, iron sharpens iron. And it's hard to have a program that operates at the highest level when you can't have players in the developmental process. That's where the problem is right now in the world of college football. Nobody wants to be in developmental process. Nobody wants to sit and wait. Everybody wants right now. And that's the problem now with college football. And what's going to happen in college football, are there still going to be elite teams? 1,000,000%. But it's just going to be a race to the transfer portal. It's going to be whose elite freshman can play the fastest. And it's going to be what type of veterans can you retain from your NIL deals to keep them here at Alabama or giving them like an extra year. And on top of this, the thing that it's going to come down to is coaching, right? Like on not developing players. That's why taking like a developmental player right now, in my opinion, isn't the best thing, because it's about right now. And that comes down to schematics, not developing players. You're talking about like X's and O's during the field, like on the field. Roll Tide probs, no information on Ryan Grubb to report on right now. So that's where we're at. You're just not going to have guys in the tank that want to sit, that want to wait, that want to just learn the game, be coach. Can you imagine? Let's just take, I don't know, let's take a coach. Let's take Mo Lindquist, okay? You imagine coming in like Dejon Lee. And if you work like, and I bring up Mo Lindquist because A, he's the co-defensive coordinator. He coached in the NFL. He coached Trayvon Diggs, and he's been a head football coach at the University of Buffalo, okay? Let's just say you came in for 3 years and you're like Dejon Lee, and every single day you got to work with that man. You got to work on your craft. You got to work on your game every single day. You got on the field some, but you got to be most importantly coached up by him. And then on the flip side, you're having to go against Alabama wide receivers like Ryan Williams, right? You're having to start like against like, maybe against the Jalen Mbakwe or, some of these other guys, like battling every single day. Think about how good that player is going to be at the end when he finally gets his opportunity. That doesn't exist anymore. It's like, if I don't play within these 2 years, that's why it's like, to be honest, I'm not even touching class of 2026 recruiting or 2027 recruiting. Are you kidding me? Man, you're just going to focus on the guys that actually play, because we don't even know. And I don't want to scare you, but this is fact. There's another transfer portal window coming after the spring game. You're going to have to re-recruit your players. And look, you're right. The transfer portal window works both ways, right? Guys come in, guys go out. But man, there's another transfer portal window coming, another wave. So I think Alabama is under 85 scholarships right now, and they can add some guys. And when you look to players that they've added from the transfer portal so far, I think yesterday I asked you on a scale of 1 to 10, how you feeling about the transfers that are in so far. To be honest, I'm not out of this world, like completely thrilled about these guys right here. I think Isaiah Horton will be great. You need a long snapper. The punter I have no idea about. Arquella Nugum seems like he's away from playing. Cam Calhoun looks solid. Cam Dewberry, we'll have to see how he competes. Kelby Collins, I don't think he's better than LT Overton. And this Nakai Hillgreen, he looks pretty solid, to be honest. So, and look, they're going to add more transfers. They have to. I know you guys are. There was someone asking about Squirrel White. I haven't seen an update on him. I don't know if he's going to come in. Could Alabama use another wide receiver? Sure, I guess. I mean, it looks like they're looking at running backs as well. Jermaine King, I completely agree with you, man. That right side, you want to play a game this weekend with Formby or Anquan Nugent at the right tackle with your prize quarterback, Keon Russell? Hell no. The guy was completely blasted in this All-Star game. You got to protect him, man. So, Squirrel White looks to Florida State or Birmingham. I don't know. So, kind of I'll go to the back of the show. And I know you guys continue to ask about Ryan Grubb. There's no update on him. I think the major updates will come when he gets fired, or if he does, or if he leaves or whatever. But right now, it's just, somebody threw some, what on the wall and it stuck really, really well. And that's kind of where we're at. In case you missed it, I showcased this graphic following the departure of Elijah Pritchett at the offensive line. I think this is probably, the most critical point right now that Alabama needs to focus on. And I'm sure the coaches have some sort of a game plan for it. I would hope. If you don't take a right tackle, we go into the season with this offensive line, man, it doesn't matter if you have Ty Simpson or, I don't know, whoever your favorite quarterback is from the NFL. They're not going to last long because there's a huge glaring issue at the right tackle. And the problem is your quarterback, whether it's Ty, Austin Mack, or Keelan Russell, those guys probably throw a better ball or have a better operational standpoint of the offense. But I'll tell you what they don't have. They don't have the toughness or the build that Jalen Milroe has. Jalen Milroe could take a pounding. That guy's 240 pounds, 235 pounds. Keelan Russell needs to add weight. Ty Simpson, he's a pretty well-proportioned individual, but he's not like Milroe. And Austin Mack, the same. A guy can't move around. So, shoot. I'm terrified right now with the right tackle. But other than that, with the defense and Deontae Lawson coming back, I feel good about it. Keep the show a little bit shorter today as it's Sunday. Plus, I got to take the pup to the vet. T, could you bring Pearl over one more time? I appreciate you guys being here on the show today. Every day at 10 a.m., Monday through Friday, that's where you catch me right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Stay warm if you're in Tuscaloosa. My goodness, it is going to be cold. We got Pearl back from the emergency vet in Birmingham, so she's doing good. I appreciate all the thoughts and prayers. Pearl Strong, she's doing well. Isn't she a cutie, right? There's some more good news. So she's doing, man, she looks really good. So I appreciate you guys, your thoughts and prayers. God is good and pets are the best. So thank you so much for being here and watching the show today. As news happens, I got you posted right here on Bama Football on YouTube. So if major news happens, I'll go live. Other than that, please enjoy your day. Please enjoy your Sunday. Make time for your family. Make time for, your spirituality. Just enjoy yourself. Enjoy life, man. Life is good. There's a lot of amazing things going on in life, and just be where your feet are at. Be good people. I appreciate you guys supporting me, supporting the channel, supporting T, and just kicking with you guys. I always look forward to coming on and, trying to give my best take on Alabama football, good, bad, whatever it is. Blessed to do what I do, and I appreciate it, and hope you have an amazing day. Thanks for watching. You can also find this on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and please link up with our Facebook channel, just Bama Football YouTube on Facebook. Basically, that's like our website. Independently owned, operated, self-made, self-motivated. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. See you, fam. Love you.